Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Alex the Medium, and today we're going to answer the question, who is Kazoo? The short answer is Kazoo is my spirit guide. We all have spirit guides, but Kazoo kind of sticks around more often than most people's do. He knew me many lifetimes ago, and so he's kind of stuck with me throughout the time. So whenever he's in his realm doing his thing, he's doing his thing, but when he's here, it's always with me. I first met Kazoo around the age of 4, or at least that's my first memory of seeing him. I remember I'd be in the living room watching TV after school or on Saturday or Sunday mornings, and that's the time he'd always kind of be there. He'd just kind of hang out, watch TV with me. His presence always felt kind of positive, friendly, and jovial. And when I first spoke to him, I said hi, and he said hi back, and I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "I don't have a name, but if you'd like to give me one, we can go with that." And so I chose Kazoo, which now bites me in the ass now that I'm older, and it sounds like I have a silly spirit guide name. Sometimes I wish his name was like Robert, but that's his name, Kazoo. It's been his name for many, many years, and that's who he is. And then we'd start communicating on a regular basis for years. Then I moved to Florida when I was 9 years old. And from 9 till about 19, I don't remember Kazoo being in my life. Either someone may have told me stop talking to your imaginary friend, or perhaps I kind of just got involved with the change of like moving and new school and all that sort of thing. But I just kind of like lost touch with him. And then at 19, I had a reading with a medium that someone had sought out for me. And she immediately mentioned that there was someone who wanted to talk to me that I used to speak to all the time when I was little. And that was Kazoo. At first I denied it because I kind of couldn't believe it. I thought he was imaginary, or I don't know, it just kind of caught me by surprise that he was talking to her. And as we spoke and as we went on with the reading, I started hearing him again. That was at 19, and I'm 44 now, so we've been communicating quite some time. The way I hear Kazoo now is a thought pops into my head, or thoughts that are not my own, thoughts that I didn't think. And it almost flows like a conversation that I immediately start speaking out to the person who's getting the reading. I equate it a lot to translating because I'm Cuban American. I grew up with a Cuban grandmother who did not speak English, who had doctor visits and visiting nurses at our house, and I was constantly, daily translating for her. And it feels like that same muscle where thought is just coming to me and I'm letting the person know what is coming through. But when I was little, I would see him, I would hear him audibly, and I'd also hear him the same way I do now through thought if others were in the room. But if we were alone, I could hear him audibly and see him. Kazoo is with me because several lifetimes ago, he and I were living in the same life together, and he was related to me. I don't know 100% how. He has said we were brothers, and he passed away young at around 18 or 19 in that life. Many lifetimes of mine ago. So let's say it was 3 or 4 lifetimes ago. And he never moved on to reincarnate into a new life the way I had. Part of the reason is he considers himself a young soul, or that first life he had where we were together, he was a younger soul. He had not lived many lives at that point. It may have been his first even. And time isn't the same, isn't measured the way time is measured here. So time can go on for him, and it could be 3 or 4 lifetimes of mine, but for him, it could be the equivalent of a 2-hour movie or a 10-hour flight. It doesn't matter. There's no measure of it. So he's just been with me. And partially, he's mentioned to me recently, he thinks that he's developed a lot of growth, specifically in this lifetime of mine, through doing this with me. He's learning and engaging by tapping into the sources he has in his realm and the guides that come to him to talk to you. he's learning and growing, so his soul is growing there in a way, so that he's not doing it in life by living life, but he is still growing there. And he likes that, so he's sticking to it for now.
What does Kazoo look like?
Well, when I was little, this is my go-to answer, which he doesn't love, but when I was little and I'd see him, he had very light skin. He had a very slender build, but kind of broad here, but slender. Greenish light eyes and wild, curly, wavy hair, not as curly as mine. And I remember always smiling, smiley eyes. At some point later in life, I saw a movie with Patrick Dempsey in it, and I remember thinking, that looks like Kazoo. So I always say he looks like young Patrick Dempsey, but he likes to say, but more handsome than that.
Where does Kazoo get his information?
Kazoo gets his information from guides of yours or people that you know that have passed on that come forward with info for you. People like Kazoo for you, meaning people maybe you've known in another life that you don't know yet in this life. They sometimes come with information too because they pop in and check on you. And he gets information from what he calls the higher ups. And the higher ups are people that have gone through the process of living lives to the point where their soul has reached its infinite enlightenment through this process, so they no longer need to live lives. They're above that now, so they're higher up than we are. So he calls them the higher ups. So what they do is they will tune in. He kind of goes to them for quick info to get to like the point of an issue so we can immediately attack it. Especially when we have a shorter reading or like a half-hour reading, he goes to them immediately so we can just tackle the big issues and uncover them and dissect them together and kind of come out with what's the best outcome. So that's who he talks to.
Can Kazoo tell you the future?
So Kazoo cannot tell me the future, and this is why. No one can. He always says this: How can I tell you a future when you have free will? I have free will now to stop taping this and go to the mall or go to dinner or go to a bar or fly to Atlanta. Anything can happen. And so what he can tell is a trajectory of the path you're on right now and where it's heading. But you can kind of tell that too with your instinct. If you know something's not going well, you know it and you feel it. And you can continue to go on that path, or you can make a change. So the truth is, you have free will to kind of control and navigate whatever it is the future that you want is, more so than he can predict one for you.
Can I communicate with Kazoo?
Can you communicate with Gazoo? Yeah, sure. You can do it through me, or if you have the ability to chit-chat with people, you can chit-chat with him. I actually met a little boy recently who is beginning mediumship, and he was having conversation with Kazoo while I was giving his parents a reading. And also, even if you just want to talk to him, you can call out to him and have a conversation or send him thoughts or whatever you want. You can talk to anyone who's passed away or that you feel, even if you don't know them, that's around that might have info, or just when you feel energy or a presence around you, feel free to talk to them and say hi and say thank you and hope that they're there to exchange some positive energy with you. Thank you guys so much for watching Who is Kazoo here on Alex the Medium. If you have any questions about anything, mediumship, Kazoo, me, leave them in the comments below, or feel free to message me on social media. I'm Alex the Medium on Instagram and Facebook. And if you'd like to book a reading, contact me at alexthemedium.com, and see you next time.